Hey everyone, it's Mia from Jedl, and today we're going to be going through how to write a short answer response for PDHPE. My first tip is not to overwrite. This is something I found really challenging in the exam, but to help you do this, try and stay strict on timing and paying attention to the key word of the question. So for a 3 or 4 mark response, it will generally be an outline or describe, which means you don't need an awful lot of detail. In saying this, don't neglect your examples in short answer responses because you need them to get the marks. In terms of how much to write for these questions, the lines generally give you a bit of a guide. However, I would stick to 3 or 4 sentences for a 3 marker, 4 or 5 for a 5 marker, and so on. Now let's look at a practice response. The question is, outline one anaerobic training method that is appropriate for an athlete who is competing in a high intensity, short duration event. Provide an example. The first thing to note is that this is an outline question, so you don't need to go super into depth, rather just give a broad overview of what you're covering. Another thing to note is, although it says provide an example, you'd be expected to do this anyway, so keep that in mind in some of the other questions. Now let's take a look at my response. Strength training utilising free and fixed weights targets the anaerobic energy systems, ATP, PC and lactic acid, effectively for high intensity, short duration events by enhancing muscular strength and power. For example, an athlete competing in long jump may use barbell squats to improve the strength and power of leg muscles, such as the rectus femoris, by using high volumes of weight and performing low repetitions, 4 to 8 reps for strength and performing a 1 rep maximum squat at the end of a training set. An important thing to note here is that although it's an outline question, I've really pointed out to the marker why this method of training is effective. So in this case, free and fixed weights. So as you can see in the blue, I've said it enhances muscular strength and power and how high volumes of weight and performing low repetitions really achieves this outcome. Another thing to note is that I've used detailed examples. Again, despite this being a 3 mark question, these examples really show your depth of understanding. In terms of my free and fixed weight example, I've used an athlete, so a long jumper for my high intensity, short duration event, and used the specific example of barbell squats and included how many repetitions they need to do to achieve this outcome. So while I'm still being brief, I'm very specific in my response. And a final thing to note here is that the last sentence might be unnecessary for a 3 mark response. However, if you have the time in the exam, it will never hurt to really point out to the marker that you know exactly what you're talking about. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and check out jedl.com for more resources.